So this week we have been studying the skill analyzing the plot, and we are adding two new components to that. That once we are able to analyze a plot and analyze a text and how the plot, the setting, and the characters interact, that we can do something additional with that. So what we're going to do in addition to that is we are going to determine the central idea of this particular text, and we are going to determine the theme. A theme is the lesson or message that the author wants the characters, rather the central idea is the message or lesson the author wants the characters to learn in order for the story to then be finalized or be completed. The theme, a way to look at that, is the lesson the author wants the reader to learn and take away and apply to their own life based on witnessing the experiences and the interactions of these characters in a particular setting with particular conflicts. So the text that we've been using this week has been The Flight of Icarus, which is one of my favorite stories because it really highlights how important it is to have valuable people speaking into your life, and then words of the wiser. We'll get to that in the next video. But it also speaks to how important it is to, as not just children, because Icarus is a child, but as people in general, that when we have those people who are willing to speak that wisdom into our life, that it's our responsibility then to respond appropriately. And so when we focus in this text, and we're going to utilize our plot diagram again as a tool in order to determine our central idea and our theme, we really are going to look at how Icarus and his relationship with his father, we're just going to call him D because I have no idea how to pronounce his name. Dieldus, who cares? His name is D from now on. So when I reference D, I'm talking about Icarus's dad, okay? So when he begins to speak wisdom into his son, how is Icarus responding to that? How is he or not responding to it? How is he allowing those words to influence him? And so what we're really going to be looking at is not just the words that are spoken to Icarus, but what does the way he responds or not respond to his father, what does that really reveal to us about Icarus? And so once we're able to do that, we're going to get to our resolution. Once we've realized, and Icarus has realized, the weight of the wisdom that is poured into him and whether or not he responds appropriately, we will see then that he has learned the lesson and that the story can then end. The author can end the story. What we're going to take from that then is to create a theme that says that this is a fiction text, but the author wrote it for a bigger purpose. The author doesn't just write things for us to enjoy to read. The author wants us to learn about how to appropriately respond to voices that are being spoken to us, especially wise voices like someone you can trust. And Icarus has no reason not to trust his father when giving him that wisdom. That from that point, from that theme, that when we see Icarus and what it reveals to us about him by him not responding appropriately, then how can we apply that lesson to our life so that we then don't have to go through the same pains, problems, and disappointments that Icarus has to experience because he chose to respond a particular way to the wisdom that was given to him. So I just wanted to remind you that we are going to use this same tool. Last lesson with Rogue Wave, we used the plot diagram to really utilize how the setting influences characters and conflict. And with this one, we're going to use a plot diagram to really show how characters are interacting in a particular setting, but less about the setting and more about how those characters are interacting, and ultimately how that takes us to the conflict that's being resolved, and lastly our resolution, where the character or characters have learned that lesson needed for the story to end. So stay tuned, and we're going to jump right into this text.